Hey everybody, welcome to the nightly vid. Starting with the indexes. We did see SPY pop out of the triangle again today. It did give back some of those gains pretty sideways, right? But we will have some shooters going into Friday. So normally during a bullish week, if there will be profit taking, it'll look like this, 2-2 on a Friday. So we'll keep that in mind with the Qs. Popping into those highs, still long green bars on the month, so nowhere near changing that, but this is what we're looking like. So if it is weak overnight, could turn into a rev strap, but we'll see. The Dow Jones, inside day shooter. So if things are weak, Dow Jones is weaker with the inside day. Then IBM went reversal, so it's the weakest because it has already reversed and is now in a downtrend on a daily basis. So we'll see what comes of it, but these will be your indexes. That being said, we will be prepared both ways tomorrow. The defense sector, we got a lot of shooters that showed up in here after recent highs. This will be solely day trading guy type stuff, but off the top of the broad information, shooter tells you to look at things like Lockheed Martin, which would be the rev strat day after the gap with bad earnings. And before we forget, I want to just get to my little trusty notepad, which is starting to become quite the beast. There's a lot of lines in here, 700. We'll see Thursday night vid. So indexes, some shooter, or let's see, indexes, SPY, SPY, shooter, DIA, inside shooter, QQQ, Doji, maybe a rev strat if market is weak. Need to prepare both ways. Setups. We will have the shooter days. So DFEN, which tells you Lockheed Martin 122 bearish. And let's keep going. Go to NOC. Shooter counters hammer, which is bearish as well. If we go to GE, was a little stronger today, so not so much there. General Dynamics, 2 up and red on the day. We go to NOC, already did that. RTX, also 2 up and red on the day. So maybe we get simultaneous break in the defense sector. We did see energies are pretty firm. There's a 70% update for the energies today, so throw that on your radar. Communications, some gap up sell this morning. Let's see, Google. Yeah, that's a rev strat day. Not Microsoft. What about Meta? Meta rev strat day. XLC 2 up red tells you Meta 122 bearish. And we'll just stick to Meta. Because Google, you could be playing that off that for buyer exhaustion if you'd like to, back through some of these guys. However, you're not going to have much help with the earnings. So we'll see. Maybe, maybe not. And then let's see, discretionary XLY. So you can see that was going down today. And this one's been really messing about, stuck in the middle of this range. So notice how this range got very tiny. All of this stuck inside of everything left. So where are your levels of reclaim? Here and here. Are you anywhere near those guys? No way. So this broadening formation could play out to the downside, which would be more like your Amazon, which does have earnings coming up. So makes it a little bit interesting. For next week, you could probably use some XLY puts to try and capture that if those earnings are less than expected, especially with some holiday seasons coming up and whatnot. We'll see. Tells you maybe like Shopify. Nah. eBay. Not so much. eBay's been on a pretty good tear since the yearly signal last year. Carvana. So that one went inside down today, also has earnings coming. These guys are not looking the best for an outside month to the downside, or even a 2-2 next month, depending on their earnings. We will see. They sold last week, came back this week to sell more, all prior to earnings. So maybe that is the one that moves the needle. but I'm going to leave those guys off the watch list with no actionable setups here to talk about. If we go to app.stratalerts.ai to our trusty scanner, we can take a look at shooters, the higher ATR, see what we got. Adobe in there. And that was one from last night's vid, so we know that's a rev strat. Yeah. I prefer this one because it's already weak this month. It'd be PMG back to the downside. We like that. This could be inner XLK. Let's see. See what other rev strats we have. Lockheed Martin, Meta, so we already got those guys on there. What about 2 up in red? AMAT app in Google. So AMAT's another one. It does have earnings coming up soon, but it has a rev strat. So got some big names in there that could have rev strats down tomorrow. That's something we want to know, especially if Q's kicks in. It doesn't mean it has to. We can also take a look then at our straight up shooter setups and see what we're working with there. Let's see, Affirm, Crocs. Affirm would also be rev strat to cause an outside week with full time frame continuity. So we like the look of Affirm. Whenever you have a rev strat with full time frame continuity, it tends to work. So we're actually about to get some data on that, hopefully soon. At C, so their earnings are next week. I thought they were going to be this week, but it's next week, Wednesday, not this week. Uber, Visa. Uber via 322 with full time frame continuity. This is what you're working with on the daily broadening formation. You got some pivots to go after, so that could be a good Lotto Friday candidate for some quick moves. And I believe it's 322. Let's see. Yep, 2 pennies lower. Win, XYZ. Yeah, so we can see LV or MGM not looking the best. It is on the quarterly list. However, going into next week, it'd be a 132. So we go to Win. You got the shooter day. After, you can see top of the weekly broadening formation in here, which is also that monthly. So that could turn into PMG back down. And that would not be good for the consumer stuff, the discretionary XYZ, which is your stripe, I believe. Not so much, probably triangle layout. All right, so not too much else on the shooter side of things. 2 up in red, Citigroup, Coin, Dollar Tree. Dollar Tree still chugging along off the monthly 3-2. Coin. Citigroup. So just a lot of things right up against those highs. And personally, I like to just hold off on those. I don't want to short the top. It's just not what I'm the most interested in. Although, you know, something like JPM does not look the worst, right? Shooter off the top of the broadening formation to time that and set up a rev strat for next week. So we'll say JPM shooter. What about XLF? XLF is also shooter, and again, top of the broadening formation. So we like timing the top and bottom if we have simultaneous break, of which XLF is trying to give us. Bank of America would be a big pivot machine gun down. It is against the weekly signal, so it's counter. We obviously have a firm in there. So we will switch that over into the financials, simultaneous break potentially. you want to take a look at Bitcoin, which is doing nothing, we did see Ripple triangle out a lot of guys and then hammer the day. So for now, you'll see still an inside week. So that hammer is going to set up for next week XRP, which I'll add in. INSM is an interesting name. Not so much. PNC, Roblox. We're looking for signals, 2 trigger signals or long red and green bars. So there's not too much else to add in here as far as my interests are concerned. You could be looking at TEM, maybe back through these guys. But CRM, FTNT, some tech names. Very slightly red, nothing interesting there to me. Amgen, healthcare. Nah. All right, so not too much else to add there on the 2 up in reds. Let's go to insides. And we like inside bar ATR 5 or higher to get rid of some of those small guys in there. Boeing, Crowd, Home Depot. Boeing, you got an outside week, which gives you this broadening formation here. It's definitely got enough ATR to just send it into these guys if we see defense stocks, so we'll add that. Autodesk. Doji inside day. Let's see. Crowd. Would be momentum. It is back through a previous range of pivots. Some PS. Home Depot. We did see a lot of home builders reverse today, so there's a chance Home Depot does as well. Lowe's went 3 reversal. So if that goes 3-2 tomorrow, maybe, just maybe, they try and counter that weekly rev strat, which would set up the 1-2-2-2 Randy Jackson to the lows of this range. So it's actually a little bit interesting in there. Side of that, nothing crazy. In the high ATR names, you'll have GEV, which is in the Gapper universe, which I'm going to add to. Outside of that, that's pretty much all we're going to have for tomorrow until we go through, see what the gold and silver, JNUG, GDX, not a lot going on. US oil, not a lot going on there. Either inside week. The Dixie, the dollar, still expanding the bottom of its broadening formation on the month, so not good for the dollar. Good for crypto and good for gold, though. All right, that's going to cover it. So here is your Thursday night video. And have a good rest of your night. See you guys in the morning Friday. If I have time, I will let you guys know for those in the Discord, but adios.